E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Jim, today, this week is about sparking innovation of all different kinds. And today is about encouraging interaction.
It certainly is, because, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot do it alone. That's for sure.
Nope. Yeah. Absolutely not. So we're really excited. We've got some things to go over, and tomorrow's show is going to be really fun for us.
Oh, yeah, because we're going to talk about masterminds. And even me and Donna, we have masterminds. Because, when we get to talking, the energy gets flowing because we're both like-minded people. We both have the same type of mindset goals of producing a great TV show for you folks out there. And it just comes together. And ladies and gentlemen, you've heard Donna and I talk a lot about how grateful we are that you folks watch the show, how much you like it, and how much we appreciate you. Donna and I were FLOORED at the percentages we saw from February to March.
We were. It was amazing.
My goodness. Our audience grew by 17.7% in one month. And our total minutes viewed, that increased by 39.8%. And again, it's all Donna's fault. No, but really, go ahead, Donna.
We thank you, each and every one of you, because without you, we wouldn't be here. I mean, we do this because we want to have infotainment for you, and we like to hit sometimes some silly shows, fun, just fun, and other times, we get into kind of more around the home kind of shows, right? And then we talk about things as business owners, as entrepreneurs that we can all learn from. And Jim and I learn as we talk about this each and every time. So, but without you, we wouldn't be here. So, on behalf of Jim and myself, we want to thank you from literally the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, because when Aaron Hymas, the president of E360 TV, told us that, our shows are very consistent, and he said, you guys get a lot of viewers, which really, makes me happy and all. We didn't know that we saw the numbers here recently, and we just went on faith. And that's what you do sometimes. It's just go on faith, and you focus on the end result of what you want to deliver to people, how you can be a good servant. And remember that Donna and I, we also laugh at each other.
Or at ourselves.
Yeah. She enjoys laughing at me, and I enjoy laughing at her, and we enjoy laughing at each other.
Right.
and I've been able to get her to snort more than once on this show. And I mean,
absolutely.
I never will forget that one show, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you saw it or not, but I don't know what was said, but anyway, Donna got the giggles and she started snorting, and I got the giggles. We couldn't even all we could do is wave by and just hit end broadcast.
It was fun. It was fun.
And you know what today is, Donna? Today is March 16th, Wednesday. Okay. And guess what?
What?
This is a day that I say hallelujah. This is the day when you celebrate No Selfies Day. My goodness gracious. I have people say, hey, send me a picture of you. And the one thing I hate to do is stand there and look at myself in the camera and try to hit,
Right.
I'm just not a selfie person. That's just not me.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing.
No. Now I'll take a picture of my finger and send it to Donna.
Yes, he did. That's
with
not
four,
an exaggeration.
with 4 stitches in it. But I'm so thankful that that could have been a lot worse. And anytime, when something like that happens, just as an example, give thanks because it could have always been worse.
Right.
It sure could. I didn't fracture a bone or anything. I just smashed it and had to have 4 stitches. And, I don't have any pain. It reminds me when I bump it, but that's about it. But yeah, we share a lot of things. And, most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, we're just so thankful that you're here. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about masterminds quite a bit, but today is that No Selfie Day. Can I get an amen on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
so,
also,
instead of doing a selfie, take a picture of somebody you love.
yeah, your pets or a beautiful picture that's soothing. Yeah, someone you love. Yeah, you bet. And that's so much more rewarding. It's so much more appreciative. Also, today is the National Panda Day.
Oh, I love pandas.
Oh, they're so cute, ain't they?
They
Yeah,
are. They
yeah.
are very fascinating creatures.
Oh, yeah. It's just amazing all the different creatures we have here on planet Earth, and the ones that become pets. And sometimes you see a pet, you go like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't even know those people
Right.
could make that a house pet." I mean, that little black panther that is friends with that dog. But the first time I saw that panther, it was stalking the dog, and I'm thinking,
Right.
"Uh-oh, this is going to get bad."
This is going to go downhill quick.
Yeah. And he was just a big baby. He was just a
Yeah.
big baby. And here's something that you can celebrate, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the national or international, I should say. Everything you do is right today. So whatever you do, do it right today. You know what I mean?
There you go.
That's a
There you
blessing
go.
in it.
It
And
is,
you
especially
know
in
what?
today's times.
Yes, ma'am. And you know what else is the national day of?
Well, I kind of know.
Lay it on them since you like them.
Artichoke Day.
Oh,
I
my
love
goodness.
artichokes, and I love putting them in salads. And I use them. I make them, put them in with sauces, and I'll stuff chicken with it. And I mean, there's multiple other items in there, but oh yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I just feel compelled just to say, if you're out there and you have a business or you're trying to get things going for you, and you're struggling, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Be sure and love yourself and forgive yourself. And we're going to be sure and tune in tomorrow for those mastermind principles because those things are gold.
They are amazing. They
And
are
we're
amazing.
going to give you some good pointers there. And also, too, I'm going to throw this up here right now just for fun. I do this all the time, but I really encourage you to listen to this here. And that is The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. That is a 32-minute YouTube video. It's all the MP3. It's just like listening to a podcast, no movie to it. So just lie down on the couch, close your eyes, and listen to it.
It's
It
good.
will, yeah. It'll open up some of the deepest portions of your mind, and you'll see things in a different light. And Donna, my goodness gracious, I've been sitting over here yakking and bragging about what's national today and what we're going to do tomorrow, but what on earth are we going to talk about today?
I don't know. Well, this is exciting because sparking innovation by encouraging interaction.
Oh, yeah.
I feel, now this is just me, but I feel there is not enough interaction, period, everywhere, right? There's not enough interaction. And I don't mean just being in the house or with your family, but I mean truly getting in there and what their day is and really understanding what people's day about. That's interaction. Well, what
Yes,
happened?
it is.
Right? Not just how was your day with school? Okay. Hindsight's always 2020, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I did a little more interaction like that with my children.
Yes.
Dug a little deeper.
Yes. I think it was was it on yesterday's show? It might have been, or day before, I forget. But I was talking about, can you imagine if you just sent out a text or message or
Right.
email to 10 people and just said something nice? Just said, I'm thinking of you. I hope you and your loved ones are blessed in all areas of your life with health and happiness. And then encourage 7 people to do the same thing. My goodness gracious, that'd be something worthy of doing, wouldn't it?
It really would be. It really would be. So today, Jim and I found some really awesome tips to talk about. And we're going to start with the first one.
Okay.
So this can be in a small group, or maybe you work in a big organization and it's department, every department has their own department head. But when you want to discuss and talk with people, the number one way to do it is create, first of all, a positive, enriched environment.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? I mean, we've all been to those meetings and you're like, oh, Lord, I don't want to go to this. It's going to be it's going to be boring as Sam Hill, or B, they're going to chew you out. So nobody learns in those environments. Period.
Notice I didn't say a word when she said you go to those meetings where you get chewed out. Been there, done that. We didn't even get a T-shirt for that one either.
Right. So, creating the positive environment, make it comfortable atmosphere. Jim, what about room temperature? How important is that?
Oh, very much, because goodness gracious, you have a room too hot or too cold, people are going to be miserable.
Yep.
And you could just ask, is the temperature okay in here? Is it too hot? Is it just me? Or is it, too cold? Is it just me, or whatever? Because in addition to that environment, let everybody know it's a safe environment.
Right.
That is so critical. And I'll tell you why. Many times, some folks are afraid to speak or say something because they will think that everyone else will think that they're either ignorant or they should already have a good grip on that. Right. And sometimes the system itself that they're involved with will look at them as if they're a failure if they're struggling with that.
Exactly.
And that's why a safe environment is critical. Very, very critical. As an instructor, I used to tell the students, please don't be afraid to ask the question. There is no dumb questions.
Right.
And,
right. And it's just like in school, we were told that all the time, but we carry it forward as an adult.
Yes. A lot of things in life as kids, we should carry forward as adults. Sometimes we get too educated where, we're above our pay grade, you might say. But, things like how kids can, play together and, just share things and love each other,
Right.
Become friends for life. My goodness gracious.
Play in the same sandbox and be nice.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
but,
yeah.
part of that safe environment, like you hit on something that was absolutely beautiful, Jim. When you say, hey guys, is the room temperature okay? What does that tell everybody there?
It tells them that you care about them. You're interested in their well-being.
Exactly. So I am convinced I probably don't have any blood, because until Arizona gets the oven turned up, I'm always cold. I am always cold. So, I know for me, I always carry a jacket or a sweater with me, because what is fine for most people is not fine for me.
Right.
But
right.
nobody can be comfortable and feel that they are in a positive, enriched environment if they're, sweating like a dog, or they're so cold that all they can do is concentrate on trying to stay warm.
Yeah, and their focus will be on, let's get this thing over with. I want to get out of here,
Right. So they're not going to get anything out of it, and they're not going to be able to put anything back into it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want with
Mm-hmm.
really good interaction.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is can be easily solved too with the virtual meetings. But here again, you want to make sure that the folks there they know it's a safe environment, and
Right.
their opinion counts because they may not know the answer to something, or they might be confused about a procedure or anything like that. Let them know that hey, it's okay, to ask a question like that, and if you may not know the answer. One time as an instructor, this student asked me a question and I did not have the answer. You know what I did? This is
Told her.
exactly what I did. I says, I got to be honest with you. I'm sorry. I don't know the answer to that question. Does any of the students in here, any of the rest of you guys in here, do you know the answer to that? And a couple of them did. I says, please share that.
Right.
And then after they shared it, I thanked them for it. But see, they have respect for me to admit as the
Right.
instructor that I don't know everything.
Absolutely.
And it goes back to those two words that I love so much. So what?
Right. Right. The ones that mean so much.
Yes. Yes. And whatever you're doing, if you're writing an advertisement for whatever you offer or whatever it might be, always ask yourself after you read it, so what? So what would that be of interest to the person that I'm trying to attract?
Right. Right.
And share it with others and get feedback because getting feedback is so critical because how many times, Donna, you've probably heard this too. Well, I thought, well, I was told, didn't someone say, and there's confusion in there. So in a
Right.
safe environment, you can iron out all these wrinkles
Exactly.
and it just really gets everybody involved.
Right. And
That's the secret.
right. And one of the ways as a manager, department head, owner, whatever the title may be, to encourage interaction,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to be blunt, shut up.
She looked at me when she said that.
Sometimes the managerial positions, they talk too much. And that creates a huge disconnect. You're trying to get people together and you're creating a disconnect because a lot of them are up there and like, well, I'm the manager, look at me. And what I say is important, but that's not going to encourage your group to focus on what's at hand. And even maybe if there's nothing at hand, maybe there's nothing new going on, it is still an incredibly great idea to have these little get-togethers. Why? Because then it becomes, the more you do it, the more what? Natural it feels. The easier it is. So nobody's going to feel like it's a slice and dice meeting.
Yes. One of the things that I used to do too, because as an instructor, and if you're heading up a meeting or something like that in a physical environment, a lot of people want to stand behind a podium. That's real official, right? That podium is automatically a barrier between you and the audience.
Pardon me.
What I used to do, I used to turn the podium to my left because I had to have my notes there and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd look over to the left and I'd say, okay, I want to see where I'm at here. Okay, we're good to go. And we're right on time too. You guys are sharp. You guys are, amazing, But therefore I was standing in front of them. And if you can be able to, if you're up on a little stage or platform, even if you're not, walk over up and down the center aisle and talk and look at the people because that brings them in. And now, as guys, we were very careful about this, never to touch a soldier, especially a female soldier. But you can put your hand on the desk, and that connects you to the class. It's amazing how that works. Now, I was shared. Someone taught that to me and shared that with me. And I first heard it, and I thought, "Are you kidding me?" But it works. It works very well. And you walk over and you do the same thing to some other's desk, or maybe on the back of the if the chair they're sitting there. If it's a guy, if it's a girl, I wouldn't dare touch the chair. But
Well, you
just
could do a
connecting.
little fist bump too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's totally acceptable. But connecting with the audience, whoever it is, oh my gosh, that is huge.
Oh, it's imperative. It's absolutely imperative, because
And go ahead, Jim.
I've seen leaders and I've seen speakers stand behind that podium like they are somebody.
Yep.
What's my famous 2 words? So what?
So what?
Right? Because it's that critical. It really is.
It absolutely is. And one of the things that is so important, especially when you know your people, in your introduction, you're going to talk about, whatever it is, what the reason for everybody being there is. And thank them. Start calling out some names of people you know. Everybody wants to know that they're known.
Yeah.
Right?
And another secret too is whenever you get ready to ask the question, you always say, "Let me ask you a question," and then remain silent for about a half a second and look around, and then ask your question. And then you may want to leave it open-ended, or you may want to call on someone. But if I say, "Donna, let me ask you a question," everyone else in there is going to tune out.
Right.
Because Donna's got to going to be asked the question, not me.
Right.
It's just natural for us to do that.
It is. It is. And Jim, let's talk about icebreakers.
Oh, I love icebreakers.
I do too. So, if you're having a meeting at work, and if it's feasible, you know what? One of the best ways to break the ice is something we all do every single day. Eat. Bring some food in. Even if it's not like a full-blown lunch or what have you. But if you just bring in some snacks, maybe some light finger foods, some drinks. And that becomes that social, that breaking bread time, right?
It creates a fellowship and also creates funship. Because you want that meeting, you want everybody in that meeting to be able to connect with you and connect with each other, and you want everybody to have fun. You want that meeting to be so successful when people walk out, they would say, "This was a good meeting. I'm glad I was here. I had fun and I learned something."
And when you provide the right kind of icebreaker, that brings the momentum to the party.
It does. And if you're on a virtual stage, or if you're not able to have food, so what? Just do the two truths and one lie question thing, and oh man, because that's a favorite of mine and Donna's.
Oh yeah, that's so much fun.
We did that on a show, and we each had 2 questions, 2 truths and 1 lie twice, and we both batted 50%.
Right. Well, we're learning.
I didn't know her as well as I thought I did.
I didn't know Jim, especially the AWOL.
This is supposed to be a positive show.
I know.
I went AWOL in the Army when I was a young kid. Back when I was young and good. So that's back when I was young and good looking. Got away with it too. But I told the story on a previous show. So if you're interested in that or whatever, any questions for us, please email us here at the TV show, Inspiration D360 TV. Our staff will get it, make sure the right person gets it, and we will get an answer back to you exponentially.
Absolutely.
As quickly as we can.
Absolutely. So one of the other things that's really great in icebreakers, Jim, is people who are new.
Oh, yeah.
Integrating them into the group and honestly making them feel welcome. Now, Jim, I know you've been in this situation. I know I've been in this situation where you walk into to hear somebody speak and you've been invited and nobody says anything to you.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you're there for a meeting and you're new and you don't know if you should sit on the right side, on the left side, in the middle. So making new members feel important, feel welcomed, and appreciated is
Yes.
absolutely critical to
Yeah.
building your team.
Yeah, if you're in charge of that, you be sure and say, ladies and gentlemen, we got someone visiting with us there. They're new here today or whatever. And we just want to say thank you so much for being with us, and introduce them and say, your opinion is just as important as mine.
Right, right. And then, make it so that people can go around because people take pride in what they do. Right, Jim?
They certainly do. Everybody wants to do a good job.
Right.
They truly, truly do.
So, you can do a little icebreaker and just say, okay, just for anybody who doesn't know what everyone's doing, we're just going to take time, go around the room, say
Mhm.
your name and what department you're in and what it
Mhm.
is you do in that department.
Yeah. And
It's
then just tell them, you just add, okay, and share one thing about you that people may not know about you in this room.
right. Or you can maybe, if it's a big group and you want to kind of keep the time down,
Mhm.
you can define what that's going to be. Share your favorite animal.
Oh, yeah. Share
Right?
your
Because
favorite
then they're
food.
not going to go on about it, right?
Yeah. Share
But
your favorite food because we all eat, right?
yeah, absolutely. So there's lots of things you can do for
Mhm.
icebreakers that help set the tone to encourage that interaction and have a positive impact
Mhm.
on your group.
Mm. And letting people know that it's okay to talk. We've talked about that already quite a bit, but that is so critical
Uh,
because just let them know your opinion matters. Your questions are important
right.
because you don't want anybody to walk out of there without having a question they did not ask.
Right. And one of the ways you can cover that is say, if you have a question,
Mhm.
this is the time to ask it because we do have new people in here.
Yes.
And so they may not know. So please, no questions, questions that aren't answered. I can't help you,
Mhm.
or I can't get you to the right area to get the help you need. So
Mhm.
no question should be turned away. So
Oh, yeah.
please, every question you have, this is the time. And when you do that, it really puts and then you can, even if you want, you can recite a time that you had a question. I
Mhm.
remember when I was new and oh my gosh, I was a little nervous and I asked a question. Well, come to
Sure.
find out, when I asked that question after the meeting was over, 4 or 5 people came up and said, I didn't know either. Now,
Yes.
that automatically makes them feel safe and
Mhm.
comfortable
Mhm.
and that they have no fear of
Mhm.
asking that question.
And if you want to have a little fun, now I never did do this. You understand. I'm talking about maybe somebody else.
Mhm.
But if you're in a group, a physical group, just get a little slip of paper and write on it when he or she at the end asks there any question, raise your hand and pass it on. Because we had a good friend of ours. He was teaching in the military. You got to take all these mandatory classes, and I forget what it was on, but it was a very boring class. But it's a class he had to teach. We had to sit in there and attend. So someone passed a note around at the end when he asked if there was a question. Everybody raise their hand. So it's okay. Are there any questions? He's it's good
I
for a
love
laugh. It
that.
really
I
is. Oh
love
yeah.
that. So, Jim,
Yes,
let's
ma'am.
talk for a minute about why do we need to use open-ended questions?
Oh, goodness. That is so important, Donna, because that encourages people to speak out.
Hmm.
Speak out.
Yep.
And you can let them know. So, listen, I'm going to ask you a question and just leave it open ended. So, what do you guys think about this? And do you have an opinion? If it's kind of quiet, just say, do you have an opinion? I'm looking for some feedback here. And that
Right.
will start. And that's a great way of getting people involved too, because you're asking for their input and you're getting their input, and that generates energy.
Right. And
really
one of
does.
the ways to facilitate that
Mhm.
is by not getting your questions laid out that are a yes or no answer.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to do that. Mm-mm.
No, because that just shuts it down.
Mhm.
Yep.
It really
Nope.
does.
What are you going to add to it?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Because open-ended questions, and if someone asks the question, just let them know, hey, thank you. That's a great question. Let's open that up for discussion,
Or yeah, I never thought of that. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So there's so
Absolutely.
many ways to work everything in as you go through and
Mhm.
facilitate um, an interaction, group, think tank kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, and you have to remember that one of the best things to do if you're heading that up is to constantly keep feeding it with the open-ended questions, the
Mhm.
thanking them. Oh my gosh, Jim, thank you. I never even thought of that question to ask. Let's
Yes.
open it up, guys.
Mhm.
And then,
Absolutely.
hey, I mean, all right, Jim, that was awesome. When you start clapping,
Mhm.
people do what? Start clapping,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because that creates the energy. And make sure that's another thing. I'm a little passionate about. Get up in the middle of it and take a break.
Mhm.
And honestly, about every 45 minutes, have a little break,
Oh, yeah.
right? Have a little break.
Yes, exactly. That's very, very important. And, Donna, excuse me, in thinking about what we're talking about here, it's so important to make eye contact with people. And sometimes you get so caught up in what you're going to say and how you're going to present it and all that, especially in a physical environment.
Right.
You may just look in this direction here and focus back on what you're going to say, and you look in that direction again. And the people over there on the other side are going to think, well, why don't you look over here? And it takes a little practice, but it's easily mastered. Just focus on talking to these folks and these folks and these folks. And if you got to make notes on it, left, right, center, or whatever, do it. But
Right.
it's important because if I'm attending a meeting and the person is always looking at the people on the other side, I'm going to tune out.
Right. I've already been disconnected, not by me. They've disconnected themselves from
Yeah,
me.
because they're not talking to me.
Right.
And I'm important.
Exactly.
So that remember that, make a mental note of that. That's very, very important and critical. And
Right.
Donna, it's also a good thing to be a good listener, isn't it?
Ooh. Okay. That's something that we don't do enough of.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do enough of. Because when we listen, and I always like to say this, we have two ears and one mouth for a
Mm-hmm.
reason.
She tells me that a lot.
I do. But it's so true because when we aren't listening, when our mouth is in gear and our brain is in gear and engaged, we're not listening to what the other person is saying. And they feel devalued as what they're trying to get across to you. But to me, even almost as bad is you are cheating yourself
Oh, yeah.
out of amazing feedback,
Mm-hmm.
questions, information that will lead to something else.
Yeah, because if you're talking, you're not learning anything.
Right.
Not a thing.
Absolutely true.
You're not benefiting. You're cheating yourself.
You are absolutely cheating yourself.
Mm-hmm. You
And
really.
the person that was trying to talk to you is going to
Mm-hmm.
feel completely cheated and closed down.
Oh, oh, yeah.
And the sad part about that, think about this, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
If you did that to somebody and they were the Einstein, if you will, coming up in your organization
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't handle it right, how bad would you feel and kick yourself in the foot if they left your organization, went to Joe Blow's organization
Mm.
and took that organization from here to here because they listened.
Yes. And I'm going to share a couple of nicety to knows with you about my experience in being a certified instructor in the military for many years. Every now and then, you'll have a student that will come in. And this student, like this one guy, we recruited him as an instructor, but this guy was a depot level trained student. Now, depot level, there's 5 different levels. He's number 5. I'm teaching level number 1. Now, to put that in perspective, it's like bringing in a certified automobile mechanic and teaching them how to check oil,
Right.
teaching them how to, crank up the car or, whatever, and or how to change a tire, stuff like that. So obviously, I'm going to bore that student. I'm going to bore him in the next week. So I walked over to him and I said, listen, I said, you're very experienced in this. I'm going to appoint you as an assistant instructor, and you're going to float around the room and you're going to help other students that are stuck in a spot so we can all be up to speed. And he just latched onto that and took it.
Right.
And that's the way you do that. Also, on the other side of the coin, this is a nicety to know, because you always want to be polite. You always want to respect people. But sometimes you may get someone in there that really likes to talk and they really like to give their opinion.
Right.
And they kind of like want to steal the show. So how do you handle that? The best way to do that, just say, just a minute. I know where you're going with that. And that's great, because if we go there now, I'm going to lose everybody. I'll get back with you. Just hold on a few seconds, okay? And they'll say, yeah, sure. And then you go on and don't even and forget about it.
Right. Right.
But, it works beautiful. And you didn't insult them. You did not embarrass them, because if you're attending a meeting and you're there to hear the person, present things, and they got material they need to share with you, and someone else is just talking and talking and talking and talking, what do?
Right.
You'll tune out.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to lose your audience over that. So just be polite and just say, you're very sharp. I know where you're going with that. Let's hold on to that moment right now, because if we go there, I'm going to lose everybody else, and I'll get back with you, okay? And then drive right on.
Right. And that is controlling your time.
Yes.
And it's controlling how you're holding and molding the interaction.
Yes.
And that's important, because you do have to, of course, stay on time.
Yes. And you got to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
You
Absolutely.
really do. Mm-hmm.
So when you said that, I love that. How you worded that, Jim, and that whole story is just being 2 words: inclusive. Be inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
You included him. You didn't demean him.
No,
you
no,
didn't.
you never did that.
Right, exactly. You didn't say, well, appreciate that, but hey, buddy, we got to get moving.
Yeah.
Right, and you didn't embarrass him.
Yeah. I credit their intelligence and let them know that they're way ahead above everybody else. And if we go there, I'm going to leave people behind. So that's a nice way of taking control back without insulting someone, demeaning someone, or embarrassing someone.
Right. And
that's
these
critical.
Situations come up.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
They come up. So it's important, and it's important that everybody feels included.
Yes. Yes.
Everybody feels included. Yeah. So it's important to pull people in. And so if it's a large group, obviously, I encourage name tags. I got to be honest with you. It's a little something in my brain. I have a hard time remembering people's name right away that I've met in a group setting when I've just met 30 other people.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm not too good at that. So name tags are a good way of not losing the identity of the person and making them feel invisible, because then you can say, hey, John, what is your thoughts on this?
Yes.
And then give him the floor.
Because your name is important.
Absolutely.
It really is. Your name is important. It really is. And I like the idea that you brought up there, Donna. It's very important because name tags are critical because therefore a person can easily address the person correctly and politely, and and that also reinforces the memory of that face belongs to that name.
Mhm. Yep, it sure does.
And
It
if you get
sure
caught in a
does.
sticky wicket, what I used to do is how do you spell your first name? Is that okay? And it might say Jim. Oh, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I just want to make sure because there was some background noise, and I know if I heard it right or whatever.
Right,
You can always make an excuse, but
right.
ask them how to
You can
spell
be
their name.
creative about it.
Yes,
Be
yes,
creative.
yeah. Mhm.
So that's one of our next topics. Nice
What's that?
segue. Be
No, okay.
creative.
Oh, be creative. Okay, I thought I was going to talk about remembering names.
Jim's a little slow today, folks.
She keeps me in suspense, is what it is.
Oh, but being creative, I mean, role play. Jim, how cool is role play? So,
Oh,
right. So, say that you are a customer, obviously a customer based company, and you get phone calls, right?
mhm,
In all the time. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to take 20 minutes, 15 minutes on this section of people, 15 on this section, 15 on this section. Now what we're
mhm,
going to do is everybody, they're going to come up here. We're going to come up 2 by 2, kind of go quickly. So I'm going to give you guys all 5 minutes of
mhm.
what are the questions, how are the customers hitting you on the phone? What is it you're hearing the most so that we as a team can address it and
Mhm.
do a better job of it. Make
Oh, yeah.
your job easier. Now, listen to this so that we can make your job easier and the customer happy. What did I
Oh,
just
yeah.
say?
Mm,
I put them ahead of the customer
yeah.
because without them, there is no customer.
You're exactly right. And that's so critical for management to be able to talk to people in customer service.
Mhm.
They're the front line.
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones that take the call. They're the ones that hear the complaints. They're the ones that, that get a lot of good. Because when people talk to customer service, I mean, when I talk to customer service, I'm going to tell them everything, the reason why I called.
Right.
And, if you're management, you don't ask, get down there with the grassroots people. I mean,
You don't know.
you're living in a world of make believe. You
Mhm.
really are. You really are. And it's so critical because you're a frontline people like in customer service, for example. You also let them know that what they say to you is important, and they
Right.
are a great source of information for you. And how do you think that makes people feel, Don? If you and I were in customer service and some management came to us and started asking us, what are some of the things you're hearing consistently on the phone?
Oh, it makes you
And
feel important that you're valued,
yeah,
that
yeah,
you're
they value your
appreciated.
opinion. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And plus the fact you're getting good scoop. I mean, you're getting the truth.
Right. Right.
And if regardless what the truth is, you can always deal with the truth. You cannot deal with a lie, and you cannot live in a world of make believe because
Mhm.
the world doesn't turn that way.
So one of the things that I do at events that I've spoke at is when you're trying to get everyone's attention and everyone's chat, 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 and the room's just a buzzing, and you pick, hello, okay, we're gonna get started. Excuse me, right? You could do that for half an hour. You could go on and on and on. One of the best ways I have ever found to get an audience to be quiet is simply go, shh,
Hmm.
shh,
Hmm.
because it's a different sound. It
Yeah.
breaks, right? And when you do that, everyone turns around and they're like, oh, okay. And you
Yeah.
don't have to stand up there going, hey, hey, everyone, be quiet.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, you have already lost control before you start.
I like that, Donna. I hadn't really thought about that in a long time, but that is so critical. That shh, because it's very inoffensive, but it's very
Yep.
effective.
Yep. And it's much better. You have the quicker control. And I honestly, when I've been to events, Jim, I know you have too, and you've seen somebody at the mic trying to get everyone's attention, and they're yelling into the mic.
Oh yeah.
If they're yelling into the mic and no one is stopping what they're doing, then they have already lost control before they even begun their speech or presentation.
One of the things that I did, of course, I had an advantage here because being a master sergeant and all that with the starch uniform, spit shine boots. That's back in the old days where they wore the tan suede boots, and just walk up on the stage, turn around, and look at the class, and not say a word, and the students would go shh, shh, or holler at ease, which just means hush talking and pay attention.
Right.
And have them do it. Now, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and just go on. But it's in an environment like what Donna's talking about, that's not going to happen because they may not even know who you are or may not even know you're up there or whatever, especially if you're just a speaker there,
Right.
Yeah, it's very critical, And they always say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, like that. Be polite to them.
Oh, absolutely. So, it's real easy to do. You shush them, shh, and then they turn around and you say, oh my gosh, you guys are awesome. Look at the energy in this room.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what did you just do? You've already got them to hush up because you need them to hush up, right? But then you have turned around and said, you guys are awesome. Look at the energy in this room. How many people in here have met somebody they never met before? And you're going to see hands shoot up. Okay, now you've just got energy going because you're asking them questions.
Yeah. And if you are on stage, you're going to be a speaker, please don't start out with that. This is who I am. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. I'm a trainer. I
don't mean to laugh, but
so many of them do it. Look at the talking.
That's why I'm laughing, guys, because people will go on and talk about themselves. Jim, we've heard it 10, 15 minutes.
You've got about 7 seconds to get people's attention.
And their approval.
Yes. And they either like you or not.
Right.
If you stand up there saying, this is my name, they know what your name is.
Right.
Because you're going to be somewhere on the schedule. And that's like we're invited to speak, and I'm going to be speaking about how to be a speaker and all that. And I'm going to open it up. I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever heard of the word glossophobia? That sounds nasty, doesn't it? There's more people afraid of that than there are death. You think, oh my gosh, what is glossophobia?
Right.
And glossio means the tongue, and phobia is a fear of speaking. But see, that draws them in. That's got much more effective to it than I'm Jim Grant, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm the other. Who cares? So what?
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point, Don. I'm glad you brought that up because it's critical. It really is, because if you turn them off in the first 7 to 10 seconds, you're done. You are done.
Yep.
Unless you're giving away a new car to those that pay attention.
Yeah, and then they don't care. They're just focused on the car. But it is super important to, and you can do that, whether you're, a speaker or you have a big group of people, doesn't matter. You can use all of those little tricks and tricks of the trade, if you will, because they will help you get to what you need. And what you need is that big interaction where your group of people are not afraid to ask questions, to talk to each other, and to be involved.
Oh, yeah, because Donna, I'll tell you right now, I saw a speaker in Orlando and I had to follow him. And he was as dry as bones in the desert. I am not making this up. And I looked at the crowd because I'm following this dude.
Right.
And he's kind of like an accountant up there talking about numbers and this and that. And he's talking monotone and all that. He's got pitiful communication skills. He's a
Mm.
great knowledge guy. He knew his stuff, but I mean, I
His
look at the
delivery
audience.
needed work.
Yes. And people are sitting there. They're either leaned back in their chairs with their arms crossed. When their arms are crossed, I know you can't see mine, but they're crossed. They've closed you off.
Or this.
Yes. 3/4 of them are like that. And I'm not going to repeat the riddle here because there might be some children watching, but I got up on stage because I was in no man's land. I had to bring them alive. And I says, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to share a riddle with you. And you know that a riddle is never the way it sounds. And I went through it and all like that. And the riddle is kind of cute, but I'm not going to repeat it here because I don't know everyone out there. But it's not anything vulgar that I said or anything
Right.
like that. But this one guy, he started ha, ha, ha. Because I asked him, I said, what did you think? Shame on you. And, ha, ha, ha. I said, don't you answer that.
Right.
I said, we'll both be in trouble here. But it broke the ice. And then I just went right into us. Says, today I'm going to share with you why I was there.
Right.
Share with them why you're there, not who you are. You're not important. Because once you draw them in and they get information and okay, this guy or this gal sounds interesting, then you can say, you can find me at my website here. I'm Donna Guinois. I'm a coach, I'm a trainer, I'm a speaker. Because Donna, you know this. You are a high energy coach. I got to put that up there. Let's put up that high energy thing here. Would you click on that while I talk about you? I got to brag on you something, girl. But when you're standing in front of a group of people and they're either got their arms crossed or they're looking at their phone, it drains your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Ask anybody's ever performed in a band.
Right.
I mean, you can tell when a band is really getting into it because the audience is into it and that energy just starts vibrating between the two. And I mean, the band, it's kind of like this one guy who was playing at the county fair. They're a good friend of mine. He said, oh, this is such a fun group. We're going to sing all night.
Right. Well, and that's called reading your audience. And
Yes.
that doesn't matter whether you're a speaker or you have a meeting that you are leading or attending and you're doing a presentation or you're getting your group of people together for, to encourage interaction and ideas. Yeah. You have to learn to read your audience.
Yes. Yeah. And there's times if you see people like it's get kind of squeamish or something like that, they're not tuned you out. They may need a break.
Right.
And I used to have a coffee. Well, I always drank coffee when I was on the podium. The only reason why I became an instructor is they said I could drink on the job, And some of the students would laugh at that. But if I looked out there and I saw the students getting a little squeamish, because you can tell when people get physically uncomfortable when they need a bio break. And say, well, folks, let's take about a 5 or 10 minute break because I need some more coffee, and boom, it works like a charm. Donna, we're almost out of time.
I know that. I just saw that, Jim.
Oh,
holy
gosh.
cow.
I see the red light flashing.
That's the cops in your rear view mirror, buddy.
Does that mean I'm in T-Rubble again? T-Rubble.
Yes. Now this is exciting, you guys. This is fun because things have changed. And when Jim and I do speaking events in different countries, guys, we do this the same way. You see people on the Zoom. So what we just talked about, we do.
Yes, ma'am.
And I also use, we talked about that, but I will also use the power, not just of pause. And I wanted to say this real quick. Having energy is great. But have you ever met somebody who's just like, okay, and and there's just so much information and I just can't wait to get it all out to you. It's going to be great. It's going to be super. Okay. And you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I laugh at that because I see people in their shows like we have a show. What if we came on the show? Hey, everybody, we're excited to be here. We're so glad you're here. Oh, my goodness. Hello out there in TV land. You go like, who is this lunatic? Did he forget his medication?
But here's the thing. Power of pause and silence is great. But there's something else. So, Jim, have you ever felt that way? Have you ever felt that way, Jim?
Yeah.
Lower your voice.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
bring your voice back up.
Ooh, that's powerful. That
Holds them.
That destroys that monologue stuff I was talking about.
Right.
You know, we talk at the same time.
Right.
And one of the best words you can use is imagine. You know, imagine how I felt when I got there at the hospital, and and then go through the experience or share the experiences you went through there, because you want to let them know that you're human. And you can ask them, imagine how would you feel? You could ask them questions like that. Take them on a mental journey. That's critical. It really is. And let me say this here. Donna and I will be more than happy to she'll be more than happy to give you a 30-minute complimentary consultation there at highenergyrightnow@gmail.com. Or you can email us here at Inspiration E360 TV. If you got a sticky wicket or a little bit of a question on, well, I want to present something, but I want to get off to a good start, email us. We will give you good feedback. And Donna will send you the bill for my efforts. It's on us, ladies and gentlemen. It's our complimentary. It's our honor to work for you like that.
Absolutely.
And share our wisdom with us, because goodness, wisdom is it's a wonderful thing, because it took me 73 years to learn how to tie my shoes.
He has Velcro tennis shoes, folks.
With a strap here and a strap there, here a strap, there a strap, everywhere a strap. No, I don't wear those, really, believe it or not. I don't, but I either wear slip-ons and either tennis shoes or stuff like that most of the time. But my goodness gracious, our time is just completely gone.
So we'll be back tomorrow. We are excited to talk to you guys about masterminds.
Ooh, you're going to get some good tips on that. Again, from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much for making our show so popular. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
We appreciate you.
Be sure and love yourself first, then you can love others. Make sure that you love yourself enough to forgive yourself, because we all have to forgive ourselves. We really do. We all need grace, and we need to share grace with others. And on behalf of Donna and myself, we just sincerely hope and pray that your loved ones are healthy, happy, and free of any type of sickness or illness. And we hope that you're blessed in all areas of your life. And we pray that from the bottom of our hearts. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.